And now I get to do something else incredible, which is I have the honor of welcoming tonight's host and moderator. He is a true icon and a great friend to all of us here at the Paley Center. An award-winning actor, writer, and comedian who we followed on his incredible comedy specials, which have made him both an Emmy Award winner and a Grammy Award winner. And we followed him over 200 film and television projects, including the features Big Fan, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, The Informant, Ratatouille, and so many more. Yeah. And on television, in everything from Hacks and Parks and Recreation to Mystery Science Theater 3000, Justified, What We Do in the Shadows, and of course, the King of Queens. Please give a warm welcome to the man, the myth, the legend that is Patton Oswalt.
Oh my God, people, thank you so much. I am such a friggin' nerd for this show. I have sent the cast home. I'm just gonna talk I have some fan fiction I'm gonna share with you guys. This will go till about 4 a.m. The doors are locked. Here we go. Again, there's so much that I want to say, but I'm just going to bring the cast and creators up. I don't even know how to start this off. Let's just bring them on, and then let me start yakking at them until they taser me, and this thing will be over. All right? This show's so amazing. All right. First, and we will be bringing them all up here, and then that'll be my chair right there. Let's hear it for the chairs, by the way. Amazing, amazing. These were all in an episode of The Studio earlier this year. It's so good to see them out working. First, let's bring to the stage the executive producer of the show. This is the person that made it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Sanne Wohlenberg. I know I mispronounced that. Sanne Wohlenberg, did I say it right? Here she comes. Did I say it right? Sanne Wohlenberg, all right. By the way, everyone is standing in Culver City, so it's a bit of a walk. Next, as the bubbly, delightful, folksy, big-hearted Orson Krennic, please welcome Ben Mendelsohn. Yes, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He is disappointed in all of you. As the amazing Bix Caleen, please welcome Adria Arjona. She has seen some shit, folks. She has, really has. As Mon Mothma, please welcome Genevieve O'Reilly. That's right. She's taking down the empire one gala dance at a time. As Cassian Andor, actor and executive producer Diego Luna. Yeah, buddy. Woo! I'm sure we all can't wait to see the further adventures of, oh, wait. Yeah. Okay, and finally, creator, writer, executive producer, Tony Gilroy. Oh, amazing. Oh my God, this cast and crew. Okay, just want to start off with a general question for everyone. Kirk or Picard? Who are your? Who do you? Sorry. Actually, this is a very specific question I have. Watching this season. You guys all play as actors. You have gone. All of your characters have gone through radical changes, not just between season 1 and this season, but then in each 3-episode chunk, there are these huge changes where you're just not the people that. So, how did you, as actors, track that? Did you talk with Tony, with the other writers? Was that mapped out for you, or how did you kind of put that together? Because all of you, the way you track your characters is extraordinary. It really is.
Okay, I'll start. I mean, I guess for me it was very easy because I know the ending perfectly.
Well, that's okay.
I worked hard on that ending long ago, so it was just about like stay as young as possible so people will believe this is a prequel. Yeah.
So a lot of moisturizer is what you're saying.
A lot of water and eat healthy and no, I would say that one thing that it was a great tool that doesn't happen in television normally is that everything was written. For us, the material was there. It wasn't like just ideas that were one day gonna turn into pages. We had the pages. We could track. We could go through the whole journey of the season when we were executing. So we had that material. Then we had a lot of time to work together. There was a big chunks of pre-production. So
cool.
So we understood because yes, the shooting was crazy. We were going back and forth, but we had time to prepare with directors, and each block feels like a film. We have a director, we have a team working on that, so we tackle that with a lot of clarity. I think clarity was the key, and the other thing is that we were working with the best. I mean, not just that you're here, but we were working with amazing scripts. So most of the answers, most of the answers were on the page. Every question you had, you could get an answer from the page, and that also is. What is that?
Written by Tony Gilroy.
Come here. Yes, that's a cool T-shirt.
Oh my, yeah. There's some.
So yeah.
I'll come and see you afterward.
That's what I'm talking about.
Beautiful.
And I have your $50.
I'm gonna leave it there, no?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Any other actors want to jump in on that, or because again?
He answered it perfectly. Why?
Oh, okay.
Why,
I would say something. I would say something that Tony actually uses a phrase when we've been talking a lot about it, that jump that you're talking about, that jump every 3 episodes, he spoke about it as you drop the needle at a different point. And I wonder how you feel about this, but it allowed for a specificity of performance that you don't always get. Often you take a character with you and you have to navigate them through, and you take the audience with you. But he did all that work for us. So we just got to drop into these beautifully rich character moments and play them.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's bring that. It's good that you brought it back to Tony's. Tony, you have done 2 seasons now of this extraordinary Star Wars show. So my question is, the bounty hunter Dengar, his ship, the Punishing One, which I'm sure you know is a Jumpmaster 5000 manufactured by the Corellian Engineering Corporation. Now, The primary hyperdrive on that ship is a Class 1. And I'm wondering if you know what the class of the backup hyperdrive, what rating is the backup hyperdrive on the Punishing 1?
There's no paper in Star Wars.
Nice dodge. Okay.
No, man, I don't. I mean,
Okay, listen. This is one of these things as a writer, and I just could not get over this watching this show. Much like movies like All the President's Men or Day of the Jackal, this is a thing where everyone knows what the ending's going to be. We know how this is going to end, and yet you're on the edge of your seat watching it. We know what the ending is, and you're so tense and so wound up. How did you design and engineer that tension over all this time? It was amazing.
I have a really glib answer that's kind of came out over being asked some questions like this. How can you do it when you know he's going to die? The answer is, I think we all know we're going to die, and we get up and do our laundry. And like there's some innate evolutionary suspension of disbelief that we have. I mean, why would you watch a movie the second time? This question is kind of answers itself in a way. It never, in a practical sense, it never gets in the way. I mean, as long as you just keep moving and keep it interesting, that would be the death. I think everybody in this room would be out of work.
Right, but I mean, there's this great phrase there's a historian named Clive James, and he says, history is a record of the way things didn't have to be. And there are so many moments in this show where you're like, oh, if Cassian had just made this other decision, or if Mon Mothma hadn't been as none of this would be happening. So were you aware of these hinge moments that really land on the viewer? Of, oh, why did that person do? Oh, I understand why they did it, but it almost feels like it's just fate that can't be escaped sometimes.
Man, I tell you there's so many people in this room. You can be sort of inside baseball in this room. Like my brother Danny and I were having a conversation a couple weeks ago because we're just, the affirmation is just kind of overwhelming. The whole thing. We're so astonished, and I think all the people up here, we made the show, Zana, we made the show teaspoon by teaspoon. We don't have an agenda. We kind of know what the big picture is, but you're so busy just hammering and nailing and problem solving and everything. You're trying to hang on to people's attention. You're trying to make your budget. You're trying to keep it interesting. You're trying to make sure that it works. And you just pray that the breadcrumbs you're leaving and the instincts that you have along the way are going to lead to something bigger. But I wish I could say that this was really masterfully designed. It's really a matter of effort and day-to-day work that got us here. We're kind of amazed.
Yeah, and Zana, how much did you have to you had to oversee everything? I mean, all the elements of this.
Yes, I died. When you
What were there any big arguments or any headbutting moments where you're like that? Oh, okay. Did I bring up a sore point? Or?
6 years we've been
6
in a
years
cage together.
In a cage, exactly. I think, I know when Kathy Kennedy called me and thought it was a good idea that I would come on a show called Andor. Of course, Tony had no idea who I was, and then we were introduced to each other in New York. And I'm sure he thought, oh God, who is that? And but it's kind of a proof, we are still here together, and we had a most extraordinary journey. And with so many people. It was such a big beast, but we were lucky enough to create also a team that were all as obsessive and excited about Tony's vision. That that he was such an inspiring leader, and the writing is extraordinary, and that attracts extraordinary talent. So, and we really created a team that understood Tony's DNA and understood that Andor was its own thing and part of the franchise all the same. And
she's really selling herself short here. This is really not fair. No, I've heard this before. Everybody should be so lucky. Every creator dreams about having somebody that's going to make all the noise go away. And that's what, we had 2,500 people constantly on the show. Everybody knows what the numbers are. Everybody knows how difficult it is to do. The scale of what we're doing is just ridiculous. And, you know, she's making it sound really easy. She hires and fires everybody on her own. She has a tribe of people around her who will die for her because she's such a good boss. And so she keeps the noise out so that I can do my job.
Wow. Yeah. Now, Diego and Adria, you guys' relationship over the course of this show was, again, this is a science fiction space adventure, and my heart was breaking for you guys. The stuff that you guys were put through. I mean, how did you, especially, this was what's really amazing to me. One of the hardest things that I thought that your character goes to, Adria, is it's not just the torture and the trauma that she suffers. It's then being put in that crappy apartment where she has nothing to do and she is going insane, and you feel just as protective of her stuck in that apartment, like she's gonna do something drastic. This is not good. And it's interesting how Cassian kind of starts butting heads with Luthen, like you're using, like there was so much going on there. How did you, how, all of it, amazing.
Hi, everyone. I also see a fellow Bix right there in the corner. I know you. I mean, it was honestly all on the page, and it's beautiful that we got to explore this relationship in second season. You know, after you create a whole season with someone like Diego, you become friends, and all of a sudden you feel so comfortable. And he's probably one of the most generous actors I have ever worked with. Not only is he an actor, but he's also one of our producers, and he's the lead of our show. So to be able to act right in front of the source sort of material was really helpful. Mm-hmm. And I trust him. And I think sometimes those relationships that are so captivating, they kind of stem from trust. And I trust this dude blindly. I do. I really do. And with Bix, you know, I love the way that Tony wrote the season for Bix so much, because he really showcases that trauma isn't solved in one episode.
No.
And
maybe never at all. Like, okay, I'm going to need to live with this. How do I live with this?
Yeah, and she's resilient when it comes to it. You know, she's going through so much. And, you know, I've heard sort of the word victim here and there, and I actually really like to negate that, because she's so strong. She's going through something so tough, and yet she stands up every day and she tries, and she's trying so much that she can't sleep, and then she's like, maybe I'll take some sleep droppers and maybe that'll help me, and she tries, and it becomes this spiral.
Yeah.
And all she wants to do is be part of the rebellion. And that scene with Luthen breaks my heart every time when he walks in and she's like, this could be my moment, and she realizes this is what I look like, this is the apartment, and I lost that shot, that opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this season. I love this season and this arc so much.
It's not a crappy apartment.
No.
I mean, come on.
Diego.
Till I was 30, I lived in a smaller apartment, and I was working my ass off. So no, let's. I mean, you have Cassian cooking for you every night. It's. I think it's, you are unfair. You've been unfair. But I remember Tony talking about the relation of Bix and Cassian on season 1, you know, and for this is a character that everything has been taken away from him. He has to start in Ferrex this life, this new family, this new community, and Bix is everything. He said to us, Bix is everything. You are everything for each other. Your family, your friends. You're the first love. And I think it was very, very cool that then we were left in this shoot where everyone was speaking a language that wasn't our language, and suddenly Adria told me that she lived in Mexico City for many years, and I was like with someone that actually represented home for me. as an actor. And I think that was very special, and it meant a lot. And I think you would love the apartment. We have flowers, we have beautiful windows, I mean, come on.
Well, now, can I announce he's already sold the show Bix's Apartment, 12 episodes. It's going to be, we're very excited.
George Foreman grill. He's got that George Foreman grill in there.
Well, yeah, and we go back in time to show how the apartment was built and how they got the rent control on it. It's very exciting. It's so tense. By the way, has everyone seen this whole season before I continue? Because there's some I don't want to... All right. Some questions for Ben and Genevieve coming up. I don't want to have any spoilers. And speaking of spoilers, Bix does something so extraordinary where she leaves Yavin. She is like, I've done enough. I still need to have a life. That is such an extraordinary thing for a character in a show about a rebellion to go like, no, I'm going to go, I did my part here. That was an amazing turn. How was that like to getting to that moment?
I mean, I honestly think that once she goes to the fortune teller, she realizes that she kind of might be right, that Cassian is destined for more, and that he has everything in his own power to make real difference and to make real change. And when we have that scene where he tells me, I quit. I want to just sort of be with you, and I just want a normal life. I'm done. I think Bix really realizes that, she's going to hold him back. And it's a great sacrifice for someone to be like, I want this for us, but you are destined for the greater good. And I think, when she does decide that, there's something that Bix says throughout season 1 and throughout season 2 is, Cassian will be back. Cassian will find me. Mm-hmm. Cassian will find me. So I think in a heartbreaking way, she does know that she's caring and she really needs him to go do this. But there's a part of her that kind of also always says, like, he'll be back. He's gonna be back.
I mean, technically he will, because he...
I'm so sorry. I didn't write it. He did. He did it.
It's also, and I'm about to get into this with Genevieve, that whole scene when you're deciding, I got to let him go, it's all done through just facial expressions. It's very little dialogue. You see the decision being made. A lot of Star Wars movies, people state their intentions, and this is so subtle. This feels like an early 70s like character study more, in a Star Wars setting. So it's all done with...
People talk a lot about the monologues, and yes, in these 2 seasons, there's these beautiful pieces of monologues that.
Oh yeah. We'll get to that with Ben in a second.
The writing that is about silence, about listening, about looking at each other, like how everything is so fully charged. I mean, in this relation, they say very little. And you get everything, They say very little to each other.
Everything they're feeling and every decision they're making without you saying anything. It's incredible.
But yeah.
I mean, I do have to confess to something. I mean, I love and respect Rogue One so much, and I love New Hope, that I didn't take this scene lightly. I mean, Tony can attest to this. The first couple of takes of this they were unusable. I was completely disheveled. It was the first time in my, I think, life or career that I get paid to deal with my emotions and to control my emotions and express them. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. It meant so much to me that I was going to sort of have a way of shoving one of my favorite characters and someone that I respect so much into this journey. They're unusable. I was completely, in tears and shaking, and it was not the scene that I intended to film, or not the scene that Tony intended to write, because it meant so much, and it's something that I had been thinking about for so long. And when you think about something for so long, you just get incredibly nervous. But we finally got there. We did it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of having to act without speaking a lot, Genevieve, Mon Mothma is basically, you are sitting on so much emotion, and you are playing someone who literally saying the wrong couple of words, it's all blown. It's all on you. And there's a now classic scene that gets quoted when Luthen says, "Oh, how nice for you." Like, and your face when you actually realize this is even more crucial and deadly than I had imagined doing this. How did you keep that tension going on? And that scene where you are dancing, there's something so desperate and almost terrified about the way you're dancing in that scene. It's incredible. How did you like keep all that tamped in for every scene like that?
Well, it's her job.
Well, yeah. Okay, Ben, question for you. Sorry. But you're a character. You're imploding. It's amazing to watch.
But if she doesn't hold it, she's useless.
Yeah.
She's only effective to the rebellion if she can contain it all. And what the script allows for is many series of masks that this woman has to hold. But within all those masks are these fissures, I guess maybe like cranial plates or tectonic plates or something. Mm-hmm. And so they're all fused together. But what the writing allows for is what you were talking about before, which is the space in those silences for that tension or that pain or that fear to cut through those fissures.
Yeah.
So you get to see it and you get to feel it.
And again, it's a testament to the writing that, yeah, you love the ray gun shooting and the space battles, and then I can't wait to get back to Mon Mothma at this gala thing where if she says the one wrong thing, the entire, that's just as tense as the friggin' space battles.
I'll say something to the room because you'd think this would be an obvious thing that you would know, but I never had a more graphic example of it from a writing point of view. What happens in that scene where she's dancing is, because it's an early episode, and you ask why things land so hard. It's because, we're depositing money. We're going to the teller every week, and we're putting money in. You got to have the time. You got to be able to put the money in to cash the check at the end. But in that scene when she's dancing, I realized something forensically after the fact that should be obvious to all of us. In that scene, the only people that know what's really going on are you in your living room in the audience and her. Mm-hmm. No one else in that whole room has any clue what's going on. And it reinforces a relationship that you have with the character that's really powerful in a way that I hadn't really ever thought about before. I'm sure we've all done that before in a way, but it was never so articulated for me before in that scene. No one in that room, they all think, oh my God, she's cutting loose, finally. But we know, and then you're a co-conspirator with her, and I think I become so much more aware on this show of my relationship with the audience and how the audience takes things, and that's a really new transaction that I was never aware of before. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because you're watching someone, you've got no one to talk to.
No, but then you're bonded with her.
You can't vent to anybody, or it's all blown. That's
except you sitting on your couch.
Yeah.
I know what she's going through.
Yeah, she's so isolated. She's so isolated as a character. And then there is that interaction that you brought up with Luthen where he says, how nice for you. How beautiful to allow a space for an actor to be able to be present in a moment where you see the idealism of this woman just be crushed within her. Any hope that she could get through this without blood on her hands is right there.
Oh yeah, but that's the moment where she's like, oh no, I'm gonna pay a price for this too, and there won't be any completely untainted good guys in this. We will all have something on our hands here.
Yeah, it's so, because we have so many pages, in this, you saw 9, or like, when he drops the two people at the Senate, she's never seen anything before. So she still has. There's a lot of things for her to realize. It's And
also getting back to about your face when you see the people get into that car and you realize, here's what's happening, and I gotta keep this nice, but in your eyes, it's like you're screaming. It was incredible.
And I think that's why she's dancing to stop herself from screaming.
Oh, okay, that was dark. I'm sorry. I did not. I don't know why. That was amazing. Dancing to stop yourself from screaming. Wow. If there's any, that's a great Smiths lyric, by the way. If there's a, Ben.
Uh-oh.
Ben. Oh. I was so, and I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of people. When Krennic showed up, it was like seeing like Chewbacca. Like, yay! Here's Krennic. I'm so excited.
Oh, I don't know if it's Chewbacca.
Well, but it was still.
I mean,
okay. I have here's a theory that I have.
Chewbacca's pretty important.
Yeah, oh, okay,
Yeah.
he is very important.
That's
But in a horrible way, so is Krennic. He is. He is. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I could be the dark side's Chewbacca. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
I can roll with that.
So there's a scene in Rogue One where you encounter Darth Vader, and he kind of hands you your ass, and is like,
We have a discussion.
Well, yeah. But he really like just kind of
Look,
hammers
I
you.
don't want to get all Shania Twain on you, but that don't impress me much. You know, like, I mean, he's got the Force bullshit going on, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to build, yeah, you can lift someone up, whatever, dude. Can you build a Death Star? No. I mean, yeah.
Did they cut all that dialogue out of the scene? Because that would have been.
Yeah, kind of, they felt like it ruined it.
Yeah.
Too literal.
It seemed to me, especially in that scene with Deidre Miro, and I know that the pressing on top of her head was not in the script. That was it. Here's how it felt to me. It felt to me like you were still stinging from that encounter with Darth Vader.
Which hasn't yet happened, by the way.
And yeah. But it felt like you were going, now it's my turn to kick down. And in a way, your vocal patterns started to kind of mimic Darth Vader's. Like you were trying to like, let me walk around in that power for a little bit. It was so unnerving, that scene with you and her, and that like, where do you get, because look at how jovial and happy he is. And you're just, you're just so fucking evil in this show. Like, where did you get this character from?
I don't know. You know, you got to take the right things at the right time. Like it's a sequence, you know? There you go. That's enigmatic.
And then, and also, okay, and this is, again, for the cast and for Rosanna, but I read an interview with you, Diego, that said there, in the opening shot of the first episode with that friggin' TIE fighter,
Yeah.
lights come up, and you're in the TIE. I heard that the whole thing was practical. All the controls worked. And you, Ben, in that all-white space with Deidre, like, were there practical sets? Like, were you actually on real sets? And does that affect your performance when you're in? It felt like being in that sterile, evil white room made you even crank up the evil even more.
Look, I mean, again, it's fucking calcite. You know, like, it's, you know, we have to get the calcite. And there is this incredible amount of, like, how do we get the calcite? How do we get the take the planet, you know? Take the planet, the inhabitants, whatever. It's about the calcite.
Wow.
You know? And I think if you understand the imperatives, things become much simpler. It's quite simple, you know, and when you get down to it.
Damn.
Just add cape.
Yeah, just add cape. You need to like record voice memos to like get people out of bed in the morning. That's an amazing to wake people up.
I'm available. I don't come cheap, but I do
Change my
come.
seat.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, a little trembly. But Adria, in that depressing, crappy apartment, and you
Right apartment.
You are projecting something.
I really am.
They had an amazing time there. Yes, there was drugs involved probably, and some like long nights, but they have a beautiful dance.
Oh.
No, isn't that
Design classic.
I mean,
sad.
no, but Can I say something about the sets?
Oh,
no, you were gonna. No, sorry.
No, the same thing though. Like how jazzed were you to be in a TIE fighter where all the controls worked? It was all practical.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it doesn't fly. Don't get
Well,
too
no,
excited.
No,
It never actually
no.
takes off.
No.
I mean,
It does. It does.
yeah, but it is one thing Tony said. If this doesn't feel real, if we don't forget we're in this galaxy far, far away, if we're not like really using the space, we shot like honoring the best movies we've seen where they happen in location, and they happen with stuff you interact with. And the whole goal was to make this feel very realistic, a very grounded approach. Therefore, everything had to work, and there was a reason for everything to be there. If there was a drawer, there was something inside, and there was like a logic, on that kitchen for cooking. There was rules, and many times the team of the production design team would come and explain to you the logic,
Really?
the logic on set, and you had the opportunity to go to sets before you went to shoot. So the job of an actor becomes possible. It's not anymore about you and the words. It's about you living a moment, and someone witnessing that. And also this long format gives you the opportunity to actually see things happening, not just like eating, but the cooking makes sense, and the cleaning up also is possible, and the whole story can be told.
Was the prison colony in season 1, were those practical sets that you were actually in that horrible, oppressive atmosphere?
I mean, come on.
It was just
why
grim.
horrible? Why
Wait, what?
It's like
You're sucking a tube out of a. What are you talking
It's the
about?
lighting. It's the
I
lighting.
mean, have you been in jail?
Well, no.
This is clean. They take care of you. You're healthy. You're fed. There's no one, peeing on the floor.
Job for you in government, mate. There's a job for
somewhere
you
to
in
pee.
government.
You get the showers, and the showers are cool, like the Lakers.
You really got seduced by the Empire, didn't you? It feels like.
I have to say I'm seduced by Luke Hall. And Luke Hall is the production designer of this show.
Yeah. Oh. Every environment just felt so real and so, yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll go back to Zahn, and I would say that I've realized in the last month again on the greatest thing that we did was that we were able to, sustained over time, we were able to inspire and allow mania in every department. People want to go crazy. You know how it is. They want to do their work. If you give them enough time and just enough money, you don't waste any money, and you say, okay, yeah, if you want go farther than you ever wanted to go before. We let people go nuts, and people want to go crazy, and every department,
they're all exceeding our expectations.
people were so
It was
happy to
extraordinary.
do all this
It
crazy
really was.
shit.
Remember the first time we saw the Rido,
prop.
pipeline, the props. I mean,
my
all
God.
this, when young Willman is cracking the code, it is all works, and it's all there. And the first time our props team showed us this working
Wait a minute.
thing, it was just mind.
We have about 12% of what I remember going up there. We walked up the hill at Pinewood. They want to show you the Rido hijacking pump. Okay.
Yeah.
And we walk up the hill. Johnny and I go up, and it's it took 45 minutes, and we're like, Johnny's like, we can't use any of that. And I said, don't tell, they love it, and we'll do as much of it as we can. And he's like, we could do a whole episode on the pump. And but they work so hard, and why? And so, but everybody did that.
It is extraordinary.
That's how you get, it's a show made up, it's a show built by employees, to be honest with you. There's no wunderkinds on our show.
Yeah.
And it's an employee ethic, and we let's never do all the things that we hated on all the shows that we hated working on for all the assholes we worked for. Let's not do it that way.
Wow. Nice. I love that. But again, I love the fact that now I know what takeout food looks like in the Star Wars universe. I know what those wrappers look like. I know what bad touristy trinkets look like.
Pizzos.
Yes.
You know you like the greeny green one.
Yes. Oh, come on. You got to have the greeny green ones. Yeah.
Definitely the greeny green ones. Or you also know what cereal looks like, and and croissant, or what the bodega sells, and all those things. Going
what
into
a Star
kitchen
Wars
and stuff.
limousine looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just look at the bodega and imagine how many people stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning doing all the graphics for that, just because they wanted
One
to.
scene, yes.
It's incredible.
Oh.
Oh, go ahead. Please.
Oh, when they think about what people eat, who would have thought, croissant fondue can be so much fun. And, the level of thought in every canapé at the conference and all these details, it literally is, inspiring and obsessive people going for every detail all the way. And it's just humbling and very exciting every day. Shows and tells are really exciting on this show.
Now, Tony, there were some amazing writers on the show, Bo Willimon, and how did you kind of corral everyone? Because you had an overall vision. Did they add or subtract or, improve as you went along? What was that
I think we
process
lucked
like?
out on this. I mean, the really quick version, because it's a really... I came on the show in the beginning with absolute ignorance, and he didn't help me because he was there in the beginning. And okay, yeah, we're gonna do 5 years, and I'm gonna direct the first 3 episodes, and
You were gonna direct, that's true.
yeah, no, I was gonna direct the first 3 episodes, and then and so I knew there was a panic about the thing, and I had a lot of material, and Luke and I had worked for months and months and months, and so I in a panic, I don't have time to read a lot of submissions or do anything, and I'm actually terrified. I'll get Danny, my brother, Bo Willimon, who I worked for on House of Cards, who's no piker, really, and Stephen Schiff had been on. He came out for an episode, and we'll do the room for a couple days. We did it for a week, and we figured out what we were gonna do. Everybody went off, and the idea that I would ever, it was absolutely insane. And COVID saved our show. And COVID drove me back to the States in the middle of the night, and it stopped everything, and it allowed me to, I was praying the show would go away. I was so terrified of the show at that point. I was like, this isn't great. But through COVID, in a bolt hole, I started rewriting my scripts. Sanne said, hey, we're going to come back in November. Yeah, sure. And you're going to come back. I'm not dying for the show. I'm not coming back. I'm not directing. We'll get British directors. But what I really want to say...
Whoa, okay. Wow.
Local directors.
Okay.
No travel. But you couldn't, UK, you couldn't travel actually at that point. It's actually,
travel,
you couldn't travel. But
quarantine
the
was a
salient
month.
point of this is that because of COVID and because I was remote and because of Zoom and because I just started this obsessive rewriting project, we learned how to make the show remotely, and our system then became absolutely blueprinted, perfect, multi-thousand meetinged scripts so that by the time everything went to the floor, the idea of having a writer on set was anomalous to us. So let's get the best directors we can, and then everything should be perfect, and the actors know how to deputize to run their performances and track, as you asked in your first question, how do they track? And let them swing every day. We don't want coverage, we want super directors, and we want intentional directing. And if somebody fucks up, we'll fix it. But we ended up with a system that you would never come to normally, that probably no one here has ever worked on, but it was all predicated on having dead bang blueprint, super prepped, everything to take to the floor, no writer on the set. And that worked for us.
But also, it's not just COVID to blame. I think it's cinema, it's movies. This was done 4 movies from the structure that Sanne built for that first season. It just gave directors the feeling of they had all the tools and they could go execute, and we were all there following that point of view. Obviously it was completely influenced by Tony, but in that moment there was just one voice on set,
I never went to set.
Really?
No, but if I went to set, it creeped everybody out. Like, I don't know because, like,
Daddy's home.
no, but
Daddy's home.
no.
I remember.
Everybody starts looking over the shoulder. The director looks and he directed a couple movies. He had a good movie he directed, and like, it just.
It
was warping. It was warping.
I remember Ben Karen, one of our directors in season 1. He, for the first time, met Tony in person, who he had only ever seen in the same room with the same pictures in the background, sitting down. And he met him for the first time on his last day of filming, and it was just.
We spent hundreds of hours just in conversation.
Yeah, in conversation.
I talked to him every Sunday night, and
No, it was extraordinary, but also, we all didn't see you in person for over a year.
I was like Kim Jong-un, is how I think of it.
That's exactly what.
Well, there, I'm always there. He's always with you.
Yeah, but the good news is we had the morning without Tony, and he had his afternoon without us. So it was a perfect way.
We only have 5 minutes left. I got to do two.
Second. What do you mean?
We have
what
two.
do you have to do?
Well, no, they told me. I got to get back to my crappy apartment, Diego. But I do want to, there's two questions from Paley members, but I've got to bring up, speaking of writing, speaking of performances, the speech that Mon Mothma gives about truth, which has been, again, it is from the Star Wars universe. It should be being taught in schools right now. When you got the script, Genevieve, were you like, oh boy, this is... Like, were you nervous doing it? Because was that one of the few things that was shot not on a practical set? Because that's in the Senate. So were you against like a green screen or something? Or because it's so emotional.
That's right. All of the sets are practical. Like, they're all built with such detail and such fun for an actor. But you're right. The Senate is, of course, a big, wide, cavernous green screen, and so that it was different. I remember Tony came in to me one day, and they had delivered that series of scripts, and he said to me, so have you read the scripts? And I said, of course I have. And he goes, so. And they're extraordinary. And, that speech is the fulcrum of who that woman is, that everything was driving to that moment. All the history that he created, all the culture that they wrote, all feeds into that one moment where you see all that silence is because of that moment when someone chooses to use their voice and when a voice can be powerful. And so it was vital to me to be able to give that, to be able to stand in that very big, wide green screen and feel the loneliness and the terror of...
Oh, yeah, maybe that helped then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
To be able to give that to our very beautiful crew, like hundreds of people.
Everybody was just, silent and mesmerized and applauding at the end. It was.
Yeah, and
I was at home.
When you finish your take, it was like, that was good. Let's do it again. That was great. Hang on, I'm in the bathroom. I'll call you back in just a second. All right, two quick questions from our Paley members. This is actually interesting. Christopher Navarro wants to know, the costume design was amazing, and it played a big role in establishing character. But this, interesting, did the actors collaborate in the process, and how much did the costumes inform the characters and change performances? I mean, Ben, we know what it did to you. We just saw. It was terrifying.
Yeah, no, you chuck that cape on, mate. Everything, you chuck that cape on and you become Tony. That's, that's it. I mean, that's what Krennic is. Krennic's Tony. With a cape.
Yes. Sorry. It's been just like 4 weeks of promoting. I'm not used to yes,
not
the
crappy
costumes.
costumes.
Yes, of course. Michael Wilkinson is his name, and he does love the process of working with actors. There's the costume also is supposed to make you feel and give you the tools to perform something that can look realistic, not just Star Warsy, right? So there's a discussion about every piece, you know, and like he doesn't do a jacket that you cannot take off on screen, you know, so you can get dressed and undressed, you know, with these pieces. So there's a whole, if there's pockets, there's a story for those pockets, and there's a reason, and the moment comes on set where you actually get to use it. There's a feeling of ownership of the clothes, even though I would much rather own her clothes. But there is a feeling of ownership because you're there when he makes a drawing, he shows you. Then with the tailors, you're there and you're putting it together, and he allows all the comments to come. You know, so the moment you're on set, it's yours. And the character. I mean, Adria talks a lot about the shoes, no, getting the shoes and. Not being able to be Bix without putting those shoes on. And it is a beautiful metaphor because the character doesn't just belong to you, but it's about the collaboration you do with someone like Michael. And then same thing happens with makeup and hair, and again with the sets, you know? So we are all building the same thing, right?
Wow. Yeah. And then the last question, this is from Paley member Lawrence Green. Now, this is his question, but I've seen this question on the internet, on the socials. This is as silly as it sounds. This is actually legit. Will a soundtrack be released, specifically the EDM rave-like music in episode 3 is legit popping, and people want that music.
Right. Lynn is here. I'm not going to put... Now, I've been banging on this for 3 weeks now. I wanted the stems to be released completely.
Yeah.
And Nick's willing to have the stems released. I don't think. My understanding is that there are legal reasons why Disney can't release the stems, but I think they're going to next week release the full proper mix that we have already, and I think they're going to go to some selected DJs and have them remix it.
Nice.
I do think they should hurry because wedding season is coming.
Wedding season is coming.
And I think
wedding season is coming.
And to miss June and not have Niamos at a number of weddings.
Please. Yeah.
So I want, and you know, and seriously, man, I don't know who so write your congressman.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's thank these amazing creators. All of them. Amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you.